You know, some mornings you set that alarm clock for 4 a.m, 4:30 a.m, and it's a real struggle to drag yourself out of bed. But this morning, yeah, I looked out the window and I thought, yeah, I've got to do it. It's my location this morning is not that far away. It's probably about a 20 minute drive. So yeah, I'm in the van and I'm off and ready for a nice little shoot this morning. Weather's nice, shooting some Velvia. So let's get there and get set up. Well, it's a gorgeous morning this morning. Made it to my location. I was hoping for a bit of mist, but it's not to be this morning. But it's still looking very nice. I've actually got probably 2 compositions here that I'd like to try out. So get set up and see what we've got. Pretty straightforward this morning. Probably just use a polarizer, maybe a grad over the sky, I'm not sure yet, but focusing wise, depth of field, it's not too bad because my subject doesn't start until probably about 20-30 feet away, so I'm going to be shooting at f/22 I think on Velvia this morning, ISO 50. So this is my first composition. Got this little jetty on the left hand side spinning around to these boats here and this kind of V-shaped cliffs which lead out through the estuary there. My second composition, literally going to spin the camera around and shoot over here. So I've got lovely sort of reflections of the clouds and the water. Again, this V shape in the distance there, the boats, polarizer, beautiful. So I'm going to use a 0.6 grad over the sky because it's this part of the foreground here is slightly in shadow. So it's going to give me a little bit more detail in the sky then. Yeah, that's looking nice. And metering wise, I'm going to meter off a few spots here just to get my base reading. The sun's just popped out now, so it's only about 2 stops difference, which isn't too bad. So it's given me about 1/4 of a second base reading, which sounds about right for Velvia. I think that's going to be my start point. So I start with a 1/4 of a second. 2 frames. I've done one at 1/4 of a second and one at 1/2 a second. So it should give me, with my grad over the sky, it should, or the top portion of the image, it should give me enough detail in the shadow detail down at the bottom here. But I'm not overly concerned about that. I just don't want the boats to blow out in the background.
Some of you will have noticed by now my glaring mistake. Basically, I didn't allow for my polarizer, and not just on this shot, but the other viewpoints that I took as well. Now, you can imagine my horror when I received the results back from the lab, and everything was pretty dark. But thankfully, my scanning technique involving my Sony A7R II, it gives me a really good file to work from, so plenty of detail in the shadows, which there were a lot of. So I managed to salvage the shoot, and another film photography lesson learnt.
This is the beauty of this camera. So I've got 1 frame left on this roll. So I'm going to put my film back there. So I'm basically going to recompose now, which is great because it means I haven't wasted a frame, which is good. Open the lens up. And then I'm going to spin round now and shoot this way. Again, exposure wise, pretty similar. Shooting f/22. Got to be careful not to cut some of these boats in half on the edges of the frame, so I've had to slightly adjust my position a couple of times, but yeah, it's looking nice. It's looking really good. So double check the exposure. I'm going to take a reading off the bank of trees over there, which gives me a good mid-tone reading. Again, just a last minute check on my levels, because that's quite important here. That's fine. That's okay. There's a boat coming through at the moment. Wait for that to go through because it's quite a long exposure, and it'll just record as a blur. So I've got 3 frames left on this roll, so I've got this 1 more shot, and then I'm going to move position. Slightly different shot next for me. But this is more of a classic sort of landscape shot. I've shot here before a few years ago now on a commission job, shooting the hotel, which was the old Yelm Hotel across the water, for a commission shoot. But I was shooting that digitally, so I stitched that together. Like I say, it's great shot, looks fantastic, but I just find it a little bit soulless doing digital stitching. This is much more fun. Right, here we go. Lights starting to come back now. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Excellent.
So even though I underexposed 2 rolls of film, I did bracket the shot, so I did get some usable transparencies, albeit on slightly underexposed. But thankfully, because I bracketed, I was able to salvage all 3 images.
Right, on to the next one. So I'm back to my second location, which I passed by on the way to the first one. Slightly different to what I'd normally shoot, but again, I'm not sure if this will work in this format, but we shall see. I kind of like it. So I've got this little yellow boat here, which will be in the centre of the frame, and then it's framed by these trees here on the right and left of the frame. Very simple shot, but I'm not sure if this will work or not. So yeah, this is a bit of a suck it and see, I think. Fairly simple to meter for, because I'm basically just want to Just want to sort of concentrate on the boat and have the trees framing the boat, so I don't necessarily need too much detail in the trees. It's more about the boat and the water. So taking a reading off the water, I'm getting about half a second. So like I say, I'm not too bothered about the trees being in detail. It's more acting as a frame. So I think I'm going to go my base reading at half a second for the water. I've got to be careful as well with the movement. I don't want too much movement because this boat is constantly moving around. At the moment it's facing that way and I want it to spin around so it's kind of side on ideally. So was I glad that I got up this morning? Yes, definitely. It just goes to show once you get out there it's fine. It's just that initial dragging yourself out of bed at that ungodly hour. But yeah, it's worth the early alarm call. Right, okay. It's just in the right position now. So this will be my last frame. Again, I'm not sure if this is going to work as a composition, but we shall see. Excellent. Okay, let's see what this looks like.
Even though I didn't think this image would work, I'm quite happy with it. I like the composition and the minimalist feel to it as well. And even though, again, it was underexposed, I managed to salvage one of the frames. So I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out.
So that's a wrap. Feeling too confident about this second composition, but the first two I was quite pleased with, especially that first one. I haven't shot that way before, so it's always good to try something new. But this one, yeah, be interested in your thoughts. So, really appreciate all your feedback and comments and involvement with the channel. I'm really enjoying putting these videos together at the moment. So I'm going to head off now and end the video, but thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you on the next one.